It's only been a day since the C8 Corvette Grand Sport and C8 Corvette Grand Sport X have been announced and officially shown off by GM, but today we get some additional details through the form of dealer brochures. Yeah, let's jump into it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today is all about the Grand Sport and the Grand Sport X because we have some new additional details that have come to us from the dealer brochures, which are actually not supposed to be circulated out to the public, but thankfully we have an inside track on this kind of stuff, and we're bringing all the information to you right now. So let's take a look at these, talk about some of the additional information, and just talk about the Grand Sport in general. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I want to just kind of recap what we know so far. The 2027 C8 Corvette Grand Sport and Grand Sport X are going to launch beside each other and both be available as a 2027 model, but will likely be available starting late summer of 2026. For those of you who didn't see the reveal trailer, we are of course getting both cars, and the Grand Sport comes with a couple special performance packages that will get you a very Z07-esque looking car, more so prepared for the track, and kind of slipping right in between the Stingray and the Z06 as far as horsepower is concerned and track readiness is concerned. But either way, you can outfit this thing to basically look exactly like a Z07 and take your new Grand Sport straight to the track. On top of that, of course, we got the new engine that we've talked a lot about on this channel, the 6.7 liter engine with 535 horsepower and 520 pound-feet of torque. The Grand Sport X is coming as well, and it is going to have 721 horsepower, but GM kind of specified that it's not going to get any kind of special aero options the way the Grand Sport is getting. On their website, they specifically say the performance packages are limited to only the Grand Sport and not the Grand Sport X. Maybe more on that coming later, not sure, but as of right now, that is how it is worded on their website. Now, to jump into the extra details that we got through the dealer brochures, let's just go through all of them. There's 8 different pages to this thing, and of course, it looks very salesy, but there's a lot of information hidden in these things that I think kind of confirm and reveal a couple things for us. Now, these are in no specific order, so we're just going to start with the one that I got first, and it starts off with the LS6 next generation V8 up at the top, talking about the horsepower and torque, and about how the intake manifold is different because it comes with a new, larger 95mm ported throttle body, which is always kind of funny because it sounds like GM's listening to the aftermarket. They see all of the sales and everything that Solar Performance is able to grab up because of those ported throttle bodies, because they do make a 95mm ported throttle body for the C8 Corvette Stingray. And now this one's going to come standard with a 95mm ported throttle body, which means Solar's probably going to make one that's over 100 if I had to guess. But either way, it is definitely interesting to see GM kind of playing into the aftermarket and making these cars even better because of what the aftermarket can do for them. It talks about piston displacement, about how a longer stroke from 92mm to 100mm pushes displacement from 6.2 liters all the way up to that 6.7 we've been talking about for a while. Compression ratio, of course, is a massive 13-to-1. That is literally higher than the LT6 in the Z06. Fluid management, which this is an interesting part here that no one really touched on too much on the reveal trailer, is the fact that this car is going to be dual injected. So both direct injection and port injection. That's big for engine longevity because, of course, the port injection helps wash the backside of the valves, keeps everything kind of clean. But in this situation, obviously the extra fuel was necessary or needed, and they went this route, which is really cool because the only other car that's doing it right now is the ZR1 and the ZR1X. It also has a continuously variable oil pump also, which allows for optimal oil pressure in all conditions, basically track purposes. And then we move on to the Grand Sport X with the all-wheel drive. Of course, the Grand Sport X adds an electrified all-wheel drive front axle for enhanced performance and control. This is the front motor from the ZR1X, not the front motor from the E-Ray. So it, of course, combines with the new LS6 535 horsepower to give you a combined 721. Moving on to the next slide, this is where things start to really get interesting because we are looking at the wheel options now. Exclusive forged aluminum wheel options come in standard pearl nickel, available gloss black, available high polished, and available carbon flash painted with bright polished aluminum surfaces. Now, these are obviously 4 different examples of the specific Grand Sport wheel, but where things get interesting for me is under the additional wheel options, because we have, the E-Ray wheels. So if you guys didn't think that the Grand Sport X was going to replace the E-Ray, here's your confirmation. It's literally got the same wheels as the E-Ray, and it also has options for the carbon fiber wheels, which of course the E-Ray also did. So kind of confirming that the E-Ray will be replaced with the Grand Sport X, in case any of you didn't think that that was going to be the case. 2027 is going to be the year for the Grand Sport X. Either way, the wheel options are very interesting. They didn't really talk too much about those in the reveal trailer, so it's interesting to see the design of these things up close and personal, and what colors are going to be available, because I know a lot of you guys out there still want your chrome, and high polished is basically chrome. Moving on to the next slide, we're talking a lot about the Grand Sport X and how it is basically the Grand Sport with the addition of the E all-wheel drive. Next gen power, talking again about that new 6.7 liter engine and giving you a clear view of what that new engine cover is going to look like. Moving on to the next slide is where we get some more details of what's going to be available in what packages and what colors. This is really something else. To break all of this down, you're going to need probably about a week and a PhD, but seriously, there's a lot of information here. So obviously we got the 2 new colors coming for 2027 being Admiral Blue and the new Pitch Gray Metallic. Of course, these 2 colors were talked a lot about on the channel here, where we initially saw them in the order system, and no one knew what Pitch Metallic was because the gray word wasn't in there initially. But we kind of put it together and talked a lot about on the channel about how it was going to be a dark gray, and sure enough, it's a dark gray. And it really, really looks good on the car. Odds are very good this is the color I will get on my ZR1 now that it's been very likely pushed to a 2027. Now it starts talking a lot about the stripes being back. There's available Heritage hash marks and Heritage center stripes, but they're only available in certain combinations on certain colors. And that chart down below, again, like I said, I'll leave that up to you to figure all that out. If you're looking to order this car, that chart is going to tell you exactly what color you can get with what stripes and vice versa. There's a lot. Down below that, it talks about the interiors with the new launch blue interior being available as well, which this color is only available for 2027, but it is available for the Grand Sport or the Grand Sport X. Moving on to the next slide here, it is just talking about the 2027 Grand Sport lineup, of course showing the Grand Sport X and the new Grand Sport, and talking about how this is a return to the true driver's Corvette. Today's Grand Sport range reflects the best of what the 8th generation Corvette has to offer, including a wide planted mid-engine stance, standard magnetic ride control, an interior that elevates driver cockpit design, and the benefits of either a removable roof or the hardtop convertible. So again, both of these cars will be available in both setups. Next slide, we're talking about the trim comparison, the 1, 2, and 3 LT. Nothing really new here, pretty much the same kind of stuff. And again, the exterior colors are down below, so this was obviously kind of cut up. Next slide talks a little bit more about the interior launch edition, which we touched on a second ago, where it is that Santorini blue dipped interior with torch red accents and special quilting. Torch red seatbelts, unique floor mats with Corvette silhouette, embossed headrests, and a waterfall plaque with launch edition. So if Santorini blue is your thing, this is your interior. But like I said, only available for the 2027. If you get anything later than that, it will not be available. Now, interestingly, the available performance packages on this particular slide do not say that they're only available for the Grand Sport and not the Grand Sport X the way it does on GM's website. So not sure what's going on there. Like I said, hopefully we'll hear more about that in the future. But as of right now, the way GM words it on their site, this is only available for the Grand Sport and not the Grand Sport X. Next slide talks about the wide body aerodynamics with a sculpted wide body chassis optimized for aerodynamics, an integrated rear spoiler, aggressive wide side air intakes, and forged aluminum wheels. Stability is enhanced and driving confidence ensured. Performance-focused design. This is another spot where we talked a lot about this, guys. So the very first point here is a unique lower front fascia. We talked about this starting about a year ago, where we were going to see the Z06 front bumper on the Grand Sport, but it was going to have the center plate filled in like the Stingray does for the front license plate, and because there is no center radiator to cool there. So they kind of mashed the Z06 and Stingray front bumper together to create the this particular one for the Grand Sport. Now, again, in the rear, it says available quad center exhaust, which again tells me that on the Grand Sport, at least, you're going to have the option of going side exit like it is on the Stingray currently, or in the center. GM specified in the Grand Sport reveal that you would be able to do those two things with the Stingray, but never said anything about it being an option for the Grand Sport. But everywhere it says something about the quad exit exhaust, it keeps saying that it's available, which tells me it is going to be an option on the Grand Sport to go side exit or center exit. Of course, the integrated rear spoiler is the same one we've seen on the base Z06, and the available Grand Sport Heritage hash marks are the ones that some people like and some people don't like now that they're on the rear of the car. But either way, you don't have to get them if you don't want them on the car. And at the very bottom, it's talking a little bit more about the interior and how obviously it's coming with the new updated interior with the 3 displays. So that's pretty much it. That's the dealer brochure information. The interesting things that I pulled away from this really are that the E-Ray is very likely going to be discontinued for 2027, and because of that, the Grand Sport is going to have the E-Ray wheels as an option, which I think is kind of interesting because, again, GM's basically canceling one car to create another one. It's almost the same thing, and now it's even got an option for the same wheels. Definitely interesting that they would do that. But either way, E-Ray wheels are an option. So are forged aluminum, chrome, basically, wheels, and a couple other options that would be kind of interesting to see. Anyway, guys, if you like this, smash the thumbs up button. I'm trying to bring all this information to you guys as fast as I can. So if you're interested in keeping up to date with the Grand Sport and any future C8 Corvettes, make sure you subscribe. And as always, stay obsessed.